Good morning. There's the green light. I'm getting ready to play some guitar here. I'm looking pretty bright. The window outside is super bright. We're having an amazing weather day here in Denver. So you'll have to look at me being washed out. You're not looking at me anyway. You're looking at your sheet music. And let me go grab our link here, and I'll go post it on our website. The website is denverguitarorchestra.com. And from there you can get links to all of our classes, as well as sheet music, and hopefully a little inspiration. And it's a graded system, levels 1 through 4. There's a couple other levels, but we don't work on those online. And today we are going to be playing the Segovia Patterns again. I'm going to be doing those until I get good at them. And then we are playing, update, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Itsy Bitsy Spider, and Colorado Trail. So all of those are increasing in complexity as you go along. Truthfully, the one that matters is Row, Row, Row Your Boat. The others are delightful. I was going to rewrite Colorado Trail last night, and I just straight up forgot. And so I don't have that for you today. Let's see, what else do I have going on? Let me minimize this. I gotta go tweet while everybody's coming in and getting settled in. Tweet our appearance here live on YouTube, https denverguitarorchestra.com, and whoever's the first one in usually lets me know if the sound is okay. I don't have a way to tell if the sound works. I've had a few times over the last year where the sound just conked out on us. And I don't like that very much. Alright, so let him close that. Vic is in. Foggy up in Eugene. It's a good winter morning for Vic up in Oregon there. Hey Vic, good to see you. Let's see. I am getting in late, and so people will be coming in here momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to work on every single time until I get good at them. I want to work on these Segovia patterns, and so let's pull those up. Elizabeth Sin, good morning. So you like 18-string harp guitar too? You know, it's fascinating. Back when I was at that guitar shop for a short time, in the case we had a Gibson harp guitar, probably from the teens or 20s. And it had all of those extra strings on there. And it's fascinating because that basically turns the guitar into a lute. And so you play it like a regular guitar, but then you have all these open strings on the top, so you can get this big lush sound. And of course, those are becoming a bit more popular now. That frankly, James Dupuis is the one making it popular, but people are doing a lot more fingerstyle, a lot more playing solo, and a lot more tough guitar these days. And so those harp guitars are making some sense. I've been following him for years. He's just an amazing player generally, but he's really taken that harp guitar to this next level. And so, yeah. Vic says my sound is good, and Pauline has made it in. Good morning, sound and light is good. Overcast and 50 degrees up there in Northern California. Glad to have you guys in. Let's see, we're missing Evelyn. I'm trying to think of who our regulars are missing. Nancy's probably lurking around in behind the scenes. She usually shows up and keeps quiet. All right, and then obviously we always have a few other people lurking, which I'm glad you're here. Let's grab our Segovia Scales, and let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever want to play a harp guitar. It's just another level of crazy that I don't really need. But they are beautiful. They really did give you. That way you don't have to talk to a bass player. That's what those are really for. All right, let's see how we're doing on guitar today. Always got to get my little gadget straightened out here. See how we're tuned. Fixed my fingernail on my thumb yet. Letting it grow just a little bit further before I fix the darn thing. Never thought I'd spend this much time in my life worried about fingernails. most of you guys know, the classical guitar players will grow their fingernails out a lot, and put on plastic extensions and all that. Probably required if you're going to perform at a high level on classical guitar, but it's certainly not, for typical people, it's certainly not necessary. Today we're going to do the Segovia Scales, theoretically. Index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, and we'll see how it goes. I think I did listen to that, Elizabeth. I always try to. Elizabeth is very good about sending me different videos and different ideas, and I'm pretty sure I listened to that. I've listened to a whole lot of Water is Wides this week, Elizabeth, and so we'll see if I actually finally get the sheet music finished for that. All right, Segovia Patterns. Again, remember, I think you just want to memorize the pattern. It's not terribly difficult to memorize. I'm still making a few mistakes, but you're thinking, hey, I start in second position and then I'm going to slide to fifth position. Okay, and I do that when I'm on the third string, 2 4 5 2 4 slide 5 7, and so you end up with 4 notes on the third string in 2 different positions. And I think that, in my mind, that's sort of the challenge here. I find I have a tendency to goof up the second string, because I tend to do 5 7 8 when I mean to do 5 6 8. That's the one thing I'm tending to mess up. And then, of course, mastering your pinky on the and in this case it's the 5th fret, but you really do need to use it. So let's try index, ring, from the top. 1 2, ready, play. That's really hard to do. I haven't been working on that one at all, and obviously I need to be working on that one. I notice my middle finger keeps jumping in there because it's like, why are you going to use the ring finger when you can use the middle finger? Let's try it one more time. 1 2, ready, play. Time. It's really challenging for me. From the top, 1 2, ready, play. Really challenging. One of the things I'm noticing, I've been leaving this guitar out because I play it a lot now, and the problem with leaving your guitar sitting out on the stand is that all of the dust in your neighborhood starts to build up on your guitar, and you don't notice it until you sit down and you're getting ready to play, and you're like, good lovin', my guitar is a mess. And so don't judge me on how messy my guitar is. Judge me on how poorly I play Segovia Scales. All right. There. All right. Now, so those are our scales. I'm going to keep working on those. Tomorrow is Thursday. We've done I am. So tomorrow, let's see, Monday we did I am. Tuesday we did MR. Today we did IR. So then tomorrow we'll go to MI. MI, RM, and... All right, so we'll have a 6-day turnaround on that. So tomorrow it's MI. I'll put this down as a Thursday also. So we'll do every other day. Every day we'll do a different right-hand pattern. Okay, you'll memorize the scale pretty quickly. It's getting these hands to do that cooperatively. Hey Evelyn, welcome in. Let's see. And then my gadget just is falling apart here too. Having a rough guitar day here. Hold on, let me put this doodad on. This is fairly important. Dun, dun, dun. You're grabbing row, row, row your boat, by the way. There it goes. There it goes. They make these also with magnetic holders on them, and that may be, for those of you who are serious about these little gadgets, that might be a better way to go than the suction cup things. I'm not positive I'm a fan of the suction cups, generally speaking, but they just fight you like crazy. I'm going to switch guitars. That's what I'm going to do. I'll work on that later. Let's use this guitar instead. Is next up. Sorry for the brief interlude. Guitar, book 1, row, row, row your boat. We talked about the last 3 days, 2 days. Today's Wednesday. It feels like we've been talking about this for a month. From the top, 4 times through. First time with chords, any way you want to do it. Second time through, melody only. Or do the opposite of that. And let me play the chords this time, you play the melody, and then we'll switch. Let's do it that way. I'll play the chords, you play the melody. Then you play the chords, I play the melody. Then we'll do tough acts twice. From the top, I'm going to do, what did I say? I'm going to do chords, you're going to do melody. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 0, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3, 5, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 2, 0, 3. Now switch to chords. Tough acts, go. poorly. Let's do it one more time. Same exact thing. You guys grab melody to start off with, then I will switch to melody, and then we'll wrap it up with 2 times on tough axe. From the top, I'm on chords first, you're on melody. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, oh, 2, 2, oh, 2, 3, 5. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 2, oh, 3. To the top, go. That's all of the ways I know how to play it. Play it by chords, play it by melody, play it by duet, and play it by tough axe. Obviously, when you're thinking about singing it, you're thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Row, 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 row your boat gently down the stream. Right, and taking advantage of that 6/8 time pattern. Most of the time, I find 6/8 to be kind of it's fun to conduct it because it's a little bit harder, and I also think it's really fun to play arpeggios on it. I think as a performer, getting into the 6/8 mindset is really getting into the 2/4 mindset a little bit, and then adding in some kind of cool things at surprising times. And so it does feel a little bit like a march when you play something like that. All right, beautiful. Let's move on. Getting it done today. We're going on to into book 2. Today is Itsy Bitsy Spider. Well, let's go take a look at that. Now, on this one, again, we're in 6/8, so you have a chance to take it to practice arpeggio patterns in that 6/8 time pattern. And I believe the reason I'm in book 2, I think this might be the first time that I introduced this concept, and so it's kind of fun to look at the arpeggio line here, and I wrote it out P-I-M-A-M-I, which is really for English speakers T-I-M-R-M-I, thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, but we use the Spanish names of our fingers because it's tradition. And while I don't care 2 hoots about tradition, I care a little bit, right? Because you're going to run into this in other books and stuff. So when you see P-I-M-A, you're thinking P-I-M-A, and this is a right hand pattern. We name these ones P-I-M-A. We don't use this pinky at all until you're, master's level guitar candidate, and then you start bringing in your pinky. And it's usually on songs that sound terrible, so hopefully you never feel inclined to play them in the first place. So PIMA will get you through your whole life quite effectively. The other, on this hand, we number them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and we don't number the thumb, of course. And so that's sort of how music is laid out a little bit. On guitar, it's unique to guitar. Those of you who had piano remember it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And on guitar, it's nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can be very, very distressing when you first show up as a pianist trying to learn how to play guitar. All right. The other thing on this one with it, so we're going to spend a little bit of time on the arpeggio pattern here because most of you guys are regular attendees here and you're already pretty confident with G and D7. Let's just review. Here's your G chord, index, middle, and ring. Okay. And then that's going to jump over to D7. Okay. We tend to not use this fifth string on that, just the bottom four. So back to G, and then to D7, back to G. That's something we have to, in guitar, you're going to play Gs and D7s every single day you pick up a guitar, so we want to get good at it. I find G and D7 to be much easier to get along with than yesterday's C and G7. Now, on the arpeggio pattern, the thing to think about with root noting a chord, you're holding this G chord. When you hold this finger down here, this string starts off as an E, okay? And then if you press it here, it becomes an F. If you press it here, it becomes an F sharp. And if you press it here, it becomes a G. Okay? So now the name of the note and the name of the chord are the same. And that's the lowest possible place on the guitar to put a G note, and so it's now root noted, okay? And you can use that to your advantage. Your thumb can hit that when you're playing a G chord, and it's going to sound very stable, very complete. You don't need to hire a bass player. You have taken care of the bass note, and so you get the Itsy, Bitsy, spider. That's what you're working on there. The Itsy, Bitsy, spider. And you can hear those deep resonant tones that we love on guitar. Those are the four strings you're playing. They're all set up perfectly. And so you're root noted in the G chord. That's when I talk about root noting, that's exactly what we're talking about. Find the lowest place on the guitar that your chord name exists. So for example, if we're holding an A chord, the lowest place to find an A is the fifth string, and so then we would root note your thumb on the fifth string, and that's a very stable position and a very complete way of playing those chords. D chord, in this case, it's a D7, so let's grab a D7. Lowest D on the guitar is your open D string. And so now you'll notice in the arpeggio line at measure 3, your thumb is going to drop down to string 4 to get your D chord in, D7 in this case, and then we jump back up to G and re-root ourselves. So as you're playing, the pattern stays the same. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, P, I, N, A, M, I. But where you root it at will change. So on G chords, thumb is up here. On D chords, your thumb's going to be on the 4th string. So this hand, the pattern doesn't change. You're just going to move it up on the 4 strings, and then the bottom 4 strings, upper 4 strings, bottom 4 strings, upper 4 strings, bottom 4 strings. And of course, as the songs get more complicated and you have more chords, you will probably often bring in the 5th string for certain chord shapes. So let's take our time. Let's go real slow through it and see if we can root note our arpeggios. 1, 2. All right, I'm counting 2. 1, 2. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Down came the sun and dried up all the rain. having a lazy index finger. My thumb was right on it. Index finger not so good. Let's try it again. 1, 2. I'm sorry. 1, 2. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Down came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. And then, of course, at the end, and then go up to 15, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's your G note up on 15 there. I don't have those on. I don't have 15s anywhere in any of the music. I should. All right, so that's the arpeggio pattern, which goes directly into your chord playing. And if you don't sing, you don't probably need to. If you don't sing, you're still going to use arpeggio patterns to augment your tough axe patterns. And so you'll see, like, take a look at measure 4. Measure 4, the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Your job as a tough axe player is just spout. Okay. Or I could be. I'm sorry. Let's put a G chord on spout. Okay. That's what you're going to do. That's your whole job. But then you see I've added in some decorative notes of 0, 0, and you'll look down at the arpeggio pattern. It's pulled right straight out of there. It's not anything fancy. Anytime that I have a long note like spout, which is worth 6 beats here, I'm going to add in some decoration, and I'm always going to add in decoration from the chord I'm already holding to minimize the chances of me making a mistake and to increase the overall prettiness of that particular measure. And so when we get there, we'll talk about other choices I could have made in the arrangement to make things a little more complete, a little fancier, a little more difficult without putting yourself at risk of blowing it, right? I guess we're always at risk of blowing it, but we can take reasonable steps to sound prettier without necessarily increasing the danger zone. So we've talked about the chords, G, D7. We've talked about playing arpeggios. Let's run through the melody, make sure you know what's going on with that, and then we'll go through and we'll put all this together. Okay, so when I arrange a song, the first thing I do, I type in the melody and I type on the chords. Okay, and when I type in the melody on your software, and if you use whatever piece of software you use, you type in the melody, then you just drag it down. Some software programs do it for you automatically. I don't like that. I don't want my software to do anything automatically for me, but I type in the melody, make sure it's what I want, make sure the chords sound like what I want, and then I start creating my tablature. So all I do is take the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout and drag it down, drop it onto the tablature. And a lot of times I will know if I've made a good decision by how high up or how far down on the instrument those notes lie. This song is in G, and you notice the whole entire tune never once uses the first string. So this may or may not be a great choice for certain styles of voices or certain styles of play, because we're never going to even touch the first string. And usually I like the first string to be used fairly heavily because I'm a thumb player, and I like the tones that come off of this first string. I'm very comfortable having the melody ride, if I can, 1 to 5, sometimes up to 7. In dire circumstances, we'll go to 10. But I like the melody riding on the first string usually. But in this case, for whatever reason, I arranged it in G, which means the melody notes are now lower onto the lower strings. And so you might do that to help get a little bit darker tone to the song, to make it feel a little heavier, to make it sound a little more serious, using some lower notes as opposed to putting it in a different key and using some higher notes. Let's play the melody. Remember, 4s are with your pinky. 1, 2. all panicked that I don't have my foot pedal going. Alright, let's get this foot pedal turned on, and then I won't have panics. Alright. Foot pedal on. Foot pedal connecting. And Cucaracha. It's not going to connect, of course, because I'm in the middle of class, having technological difficulties with the guitar and the foot pedal. Alright, so now I have the melody. Okay, so I know the melody. I typed in the melody, typed in the chords. I always type in the melody first, always. And those of you guys that are thinking about, hey, at some point I want to get rid of Gary, I'm going to have to start thinking about learning to write some music myself. I always, there has never been an exception to this, type in anything except the melody first, because I want the melody to make sense to me. And a lot of times, especially on folk songs, you might sing or learn them a different way than you're actually going to play them, and so it has to make sense to me. And usually what makes sense to me makes sense to most people. I have had occasions where somebody says, hey, you don't have that song right, we sang it differently growing up, and of course then I have to decide if I'm going to listen to that person or not, because a lot of times songs get sung differently. This song, pretty much everybody sings it the same way. So I type in the melody, then the next thing I do is type in what would be considered the typical chords, in this case G and D7. I didn't start this song on accident, right? I knew it was a 2-chord song and I was going to put them in there. But if I was doing a jazz arrangement, or if I was trying to do a more adult or more sophisticated or kind of a unique take on this, I might start messing around and trying some different chords with it and seeing what happens. And so chords are much more flexible than melody. Melody, pretty much you want the melody, it doesn't... There are times when I change melody. When I'm working on harmonica and it doesn't fit on a harmonica, I'll change the melody. There are times when the octaves will go too high, and then I will just simply drop at some point along there. I'll drop it, which changes the melody for 1 or 2 notes, but then you're back into a more playable area. And so I don't do that a lot. I do a lot more on ukulele than I do it on guitar. Guitar, you got enough notes to handle just about every situation. And so once the melody's in, usually don't change it much. Put the chords in. Start with pretty basic chords, and then if I decide I want to jazz this up a little bit, I'll start looking at whether those chords are real. Once I have that set, now I know I'm ready to start my real arrangement. So I drag the notes down, and I double check that they play well, right? And that's your guitar melody line. That's basically what you're really giving that as a replacement for singing. So when you type in your melody line, or you're working on your melody line, you're really thinking, what do I need to do to replace the singer? And once that's on there, you're like, okay, good. All right, now the fun part begins. So, first note's a 4. Let's not change that. Play that. Next note is 2-0-0 on my arrangement, but there's no reason why I couldn't just grab a full G chord there, right? And play 3-2-0-0. Okay, now my thumb comes into play. Then I got another 0, and I could play a whole 3-2-0-0 again. And now I have this annoying 2 that shows up all of the time in the key of G. You're going to see these A notes show up a lot because they're a leading tone, and so that note doesn't belong in that chord, but it leads to that idea. Okay, so in this case, I know what I'm up to here. Is I was thinking, you know what? If I strum this thing, it's going to sound super heavy by using these lower notes, so I'm going to lighten it up a little bit, and I'm going to probably be using a plucking pattern through here rather than a strumming. But let's continue on. Let's go back. We'll play it through the thumb first, and then we'll go through and talk about what happens when we change it. So at measure 2, it says 0-0-0, but I could just as easily have written 3-2-0-0-0. You can hear how heavy that sounds with these low chords just ringing through. Now I'm going to go to my D7, put that D7 on, and I wrote 0-2 because I root noted it on the D, but I don't have to. I could put in the A string. It's allowed to play the A string in a D chord. Gives it a little fuller sound, but the root note is now different. And you may or may not like that. And then you hit the 0, and then you hit the 0-2 or 0-0-2 again. And then you're going to have to lift up your index finger to get the 0. And then we go put your G chord back on. Now I only compose this with 0-0, but I could have done a full 4-string strum. Now here's where that discussion about the arpeggios come in. I only give you bum, bum. So I'm giving you beats 3 and 4 as arpeggios, but there's nothing that would prevent you from doing the full arpeggio through there. Alright, let me do it right. And then you start on the next measure. You could absolutely put in the full arpeggio there, and I'll show you how to do that better with your claw in just a second here. Okay, so let's do, by the way, we're going to dig into Itsy Bitsy Spider at a higher level here, and I am going to get you Colorado Trail for tomorrow, because I do want to fix that arpeggio pattern down there. It's really beautiful when done well, and I don't want to waste time today on a sheet that I'm going to just change anyway. So, so we'll put Colorado Trail off until tomorrow. So if you're only here for Colorado Trail and don't care about Itsy Bitsy Spider, you can sneak out. All right, we're on measure 4. We did the melody note. I would probably think, you know, for some of you guys that are a little more comfortable with arpeggio picking, you'd pick those 2 zeros. Okay, and do the whole arpeggio there. Now, next measure is the same as, it's a little different than earlier, right? It looks like it's starting to pick up from measure 2, sort of. So grab your G chord. Again, I only arranged it with 0, 0, 0. But you can absolutely play the full G chord. Okay, you gotta go grab this 1, you gotta abandon the chord, and then get right back on the chord. Again, I gave you 0, 0, 3, but you could play the full G chord with your ring finger on the 2nd string. And then you go to that D7. Again, I gave you the D is the root note, but you could include the 5th string. Lift up your index finger. Put it back down, ring finger on 3, and then a regular G chord here. I only gave you 3 strings, but you could play all 5. See how those arpeggios work to decorate it? That way, every single 8th note you're doing something. And then measure 9, again, G chord. G chord. Pinky finger on that 4. D7. And then G chord. Okay, so I gave you 2 notes, but again, you can put in more of the arpeggio. Now you can't put in the entire arpeggio because you got to hit this 4 as your turnaround. Now, instead of playing with your thumb, go to your plucking. Okay, and in this case, go ahead and follow the what I wrote down, but we're going to add in extra arpeggio notes when we can. Okay, so grab your G chord, play strings 5, 4, and 3. 2, and then play all the zeros. Grab your D7. Play your arpeggio. Okay, now grab the 3 strings. 0, 0, 3. D7, full arpeggio, Where's the 4? So if I wanted to then go through and add in decorative notes throughout, I am probably thinking now is when I really get serious about holding the correct chord all the way through, and then every time there's an eighth note, I'm just going to play one note, but if there's a quarter or longer, I'm going to add in decoration after that. So if I go, I want to do it on the, and then I'm going to grab the G chord, and I got a quarter note here, right? So I'm going to play and I'm going to hit a lower string as decoration. So it's a bad example, sorta. It's basically right, but it didn't sound that great. You want to practice with your claw. That's why we work on the claw, is so that when you get to a song like this, you might not do it on every measure, but you will probably for sure do it on measures 4 and 8, where you add in the full thing. So let's play it, and we will add in the full arpeggio there when we get to measure 4. 1, 2. Again and go and repeat it. It's an opportunity on this one song to really start thinking about finally getting to full fingerstyle play, which is basically every eighth note you're doing something, not everyone, but almost all of them. And so you can really dig into that. This is a fairly challenging piece to do it on, but as we get into some of the other songs, we're going to take that same kind of mentality and saying, hey, every time there's a half note, every time there's a whole note, I'm going to add in some decorative notes after those to make it sound a little fancier. And if you watch on YouTube, the guys that are really making a big difference in guitar are all playing this style. They are taking a pop song, popular song, not necessarily a pop song, popular, a well-known song, figuring out what the melody is, adding in the chords, and then adding in decoration in addition to those chords. And I do a little bit of that in Tough Acts, but I don't do it consistently because honestly, by the time you're playing that level, you don't really need to have it all written out for you. You just know that you're going to add in some decoration, and it's always going to be part of the chord that you're holding until you get to, officially playing jazz music. And you probably don't want to do that because it's crazy. Now, at some point, you'll be doing jazz too. And that's it. That's what I know about it. That's a lot on Itsy. Notice we never talked about it being a kid song. It's really, as a guitarist, there's no such thing as a kid song. Really, it's only if you played this for kids, obviously you'd play it differently. But getting in those decorative filler notes, getting that 6-finger arpeggio pattern under your belt is going to be really useful for other songs down the road and make you sound really nice. So that's all I know. And Evelyn, thanks for being here. Elizabeth, Pauline, Vic, whoever else is hanging around up here. Thank you for being here. And tomorrow I will try like heck to get Colorado Trail done tonight. I had other stuff I had to get to last night. I'm going to clean up Colorado Trail. And tomorrow we have La Cucaracha as our level 2 song, which is fun to get that staccato feel. Dun 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 dun. Another opportunity to use your claw. And then again, we'll revisit Andante in G, which we've already worked on last week. So you might want to spend some time on that this afternoon or tonight, getting your Andante in G back up to snuff. And then Of course, Thursday night we have Beatles night, and then on Friday we have so much music we'll never get to all of it. So we'll see how much we can do. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Hopefully I said something that made some sense, something at all. And I will see all of you guys either later today or tomorrow. And off you go. So many technical difficulties today. This goes, yeah. All right. See you guys later.